What up, y'all? It's ttar, and today we're going to be talking about starter Pokemon again in Pokemon Legends. Yeah, we're going to try to crack the case this episode. Listen, my dudes, I've been offline for the past 8 days in my own bubble and thoughts. I'm about to go online for the first time and see y'all's thoughts, and we're going to put it together in this video. So we're going to start with one thing, right? So in terms of the starter for Pokemon Legends, yeah, I was going through all the starters again. And remember last time I mentioned Quaxly? How in Quaxly's Pokedex entry, it says that it came from some distant land to Paldea, which can be a hint at either, right? It's kind of up in the air what this really means in terms of a Kalos game. Some other stuff we talked about was the Kanto starters, how it would pull in a lot of nostalgia out of Pokemon fans to suck them in for Pokemon Legends EA. For example, like Squirtle is one of the starter Pokemon. But yeah, anyhow, while looking at all the starters, one in particular came to mind that might get some kind of revisit in these games and might be one of the starters, which is Piplup. You see, Empoleon's name, Empoleon, takes inspiration from Napoleon. And if you look at Empoleon's design, it's got the crown, it's very commanding and stern. It's in a way meant to reflect Napoleon, at least the first Napoleon, not the same one who renovated Paris, which is a French inspiration. And everyone knows this, right? The Legends Universe starters in some way took Japanese inspiration. You know, Samurot's a samurai, Decidueye is an archer still, so it's more in tune with the time period of Legends Arceus. So in the same way, whatever the Legends ZA stars would be reminiscent to stuff in French history. So Napoleon is a big one with Empoleon. Now we just gotta find the other two. And so that's why we're going to y'all now. Y'all, obviously there's more things I want to talk about, and I had a lot of fun to be in my own bubble, but you know, I want to give y'all's theories a try. So here we go. Legends EA starters in the Indigo Disc trailer. Hey ttar, I'm not so sure if you're aware of this already, but a trailer for the Indigo Disc began with 3 deliberate shots featuring each of the 3 Hisuian starters alongside Snivy, Torchic, and Piplup. Oh, Piplup, you say? I think this is a clear hint towards the starters for Legends EA. Okay, so let's see what this is about. You know Pokemon sometimes throws in hints. Okay, I see what you're saying. This is interesting, my dudes. Now, okay, first we'll look at it, then we'll talk about it. So here we go, showing the Indigo Disc. At first, it shows Cyndaquil and Torchic running up. Then it shows Oshawott sleeping and Piplup there. Rowlet flying away and Snivy. And see, when it shows the other starters, they're not grouped in 2. They're single or triple. That is peculiar. Now, here's the thing. First off, if just to make it obvious, of course, the pair here is this was the Hisuian Typhlosion. So is there something for Torchic? Here's the Hisuian Samurott and the Hisuian Decidueye. So that's what's going on here. Now, there's 2 things here, right? There's people who would know what's up with Pokemon and people who don't, right? The people who are just releasing the trailers shouldn't know stuff, but the people putting these together, or at least the people telling them how to structure these trailers, could actually know what's up. And we know Pokemon throws in fun hints. Usually these are hints thrown in the game itself. Like, I don't know if y'all know this, but there's a G-Max Toxtricity poster in Sun and Moon. The whole gen before. Gave put it there because they knew no one's gonna think to consider that as something important. But it's weird to think all the way back in 2016, 2017 days, years before we'd even know about Dynamaxing or the Gen 8 Pokemon. Technically, there was a Gen 8 Pokemon there. So because we know Pokemon plays around, this is interesting here. So that would make the starters Cyndaquil, Piplup, and Snivy. Wow, this is kind of crazy, my dudes, to reimagine final evolutions for these 3. And here's the thing. Some of these, I have to remember properly, but some of these do have French inspiration, like Superior. It's based off like a French book. Some Lady Oscar. Yeah, this is crazy. It's a manga talking about this person named Oscar who was raised, and let me figure out the synopsis. Y'all will love this. Okay, so it's set in France in the 18th century. That's France again. So we got Napoleon for the Empoleon. We're focusing on the Superior right now. So it's set in France during the 18th century. So it's about someone called Oscar who was born female but raised as a man by her father to serve as the leader of the French Royal Guard. Again, you got the same sternship and that whole combat crap going on as Napoleon and Empoleon. She's loyal to her country and the royal family, yet struggles with her identity and societal expectations. And by the way, this is not speculation that it's based off Lady Oscar. The person who drew Superior, Ken Sugimori, He says, yo, bro, I based it off that. When it comes to the Unova starters, Embor, Superior, and Samurott, they have varying inspiration. So Samurott, we already said, is Japanese. Embor is more Chinese. And then Superior is, to put it simply, is French. And it was done like this to show the diversity in America. So here's the article here. I'll link it in the description. So look, proof that Oshawtt's evolution is a samurai. Superior design with the concept of a European knight in mind, kind of like Lady Oscar from the Rose of Versailles. And then Embor like Zhang Fei. So that's interesting, right? Superior is designed with the European knight in mind. So a different Superior evolution could be more knight-like. What do you really do with Superior? You can make Superior like a grass steel type to make it like a full-on knight Pokemon. Or you can make it like a grass dark type to make it like an evil leader type Pokemon. Alright, this next bit, shout out to Bulbapedia for this. But you see, Superior's Pokedex entry mentions something along the lines of, it can stop its opponent's movements with just a glare. It takes in solar energy and boosts it internally. Now, reading it on the surface, it just looks like what all plants do, right? The whole photosynthesis thing. But Bulbapedia threw in a cool point, which is one of the King Louis is referred to as the Sun King. And so they're saying the whole sunlight thing is alluding to King Louis, the Sun King, which is another French figure. So we got a lot of French tied to Superior. My dudes, I just thought of it. I was just Googling the 18 Pokemon types. I got it. Superior, if we can take Lady Oscar into account and all this stuff, but remember, it absorbs in sunlight, right? So what you can do is have Superior in the Kalos region adapted to the environment in a different way in terms of absorbing that sunlight to fully reflect the Sun King. A grass fire starter. But does that make sense? Would Pokemon do that? Because fire is one of the other starters, right? What if they made a tree of starters where they're all shared typings, like grass fire, water grass? This is weird. But wouldn't that fit? The Sun King stuff is more of a assumption. It would be fun though, right? If all three stars were representations of different kings. Well, Napoleon was known for being like a mad genius strategically, right? So would water psychic look good on Napoleon? Or you're just like, bro, get that away from me. You know what? Let's say water psychic. We have to use the typings they give us. I'm gonna say water psychic for Napoleon, new Napoleon. And then for Superior, I don't know, maybe something like grass ground. Just something along the lines of Superior being this, it's a serpent first, right? So it's the serpent that would try to blend in with its environment and adapt to whatever it needs to, the same way Lady Oscar did. So, you know, that ground camouflage vibe is what I'm trying to say. So a grass ground type. Frick. That's just freaking Torterra. No, we don't want grass ground. Let's think again. Also, ground kind of reminded me of the Sun King, right? Like the scorching sands. What could work? You know what? Grass steel. Frick, that's so weak to fire. And isn't the Sun King weak to fire? But the Sun King is not that important. But you know, grass steel is such a rare typing. How many Pokemon got grass steel? We got Ferrothorn and Kartana. And baby Ferrothorn. That's it. This is a good typing. So Superior grass steel for the night vibe, right? To fully lean into Superior's night inspiration. So we have grass steel for Superior. Then we have water psychic for Napoleon. And all that leaves is Torchic. Let's explore this. Oh my goodness, bro. I knew Blaziken getting too much love, bro. He got the mega day. He's the first mega revealed in some way. First mega given to us. But, you know, that's also interesting because Blaziken does give a weird Kalos vibe too because of how closely he was tied to the hype season. It could work to bring him back for this. Man, I have too much fun with this. Let's see. You know what? That Indigo Disc crap, it lined up 2 French starters in a row. It might be onto something. All right, so in terms of Blaziken, there is very little. In fact, there's nothing that has French reminiscence to it. It's stuff like a legendary fire-breathing chick that evolves into this Muay Thai / Japanese fighter. And then it also has inspiration from like Horus and Ra from Egyptian mythology. There ain't no French in this. But that's okay, right? We need to have a goon from the outside. We got 2 Frances here already, right? The third one could be someone who came to Kalos and adapted rapidly. Let's try to make this work. Because remember, it doesn't have to have French inspiration at the start. It just needs to be given French inspiration for what they do with its final starter evolution in this game. So I'll figure something out. Also, not has to, but it worked that way in Legends Arceus, right? Wait a sec, I figured it out. Think about it. The superior Sun King crap, that was just speculation. I mean, the Pokédex entry, it makes sense why it says that. It's just photosynthesis. I don't think that's what's happening. We already have a good inspiration for superior. Take the Sun King out of that. It's just the Lady Oscar Knight vibe. Bring the Sun King to Blaziken. Make him the Sun King. And then you can also feed into his raw side with that. And all the other stuff that's based in his design, the fire-breathing chicken and all. So we could have King Louis. 3 kings then, or 3 leaders. So we have Oscar who leads the army. We have King Napoleon, and then we have King Louis. It's the Sun King. So it's King Louis the 14th, I think. Whoa, we figured it out. Yo, we made it work. King Louis the 14th was one of the most prominent figures. Oh, he's the one that transformed Versailles. Oh my goodness. You see, Versailles looked a certain way when King Louis the 13th ruled. And when King Louis the 14th came, he had a couple people whispering in his ear, but they helped him bring it to a whole different Versailles. There's not really proper, I mean, there are no photos back in the day, but it was a very simple place at first. But he renovated it to make it bigger, added a bunch of different facilities. He made like a giant garden and all. He left a big stamp on French history. He's the Sun King. There's nothing better than making Blaziken the Sun King. So what typing should we make our Louis boy? Fire. Okay, grass steel, water psychic. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out on this. Fire flying. Think about it like this, right? King Louis was such a symbol of power. He has this famous quote where he says, "I am the state." You know, he held absolute power and was untouched. It properly showed how good France was, and him being king there put him so high up there, right? So that's like symbolic, you know, the king is that high up. But also, Blaziken, it's like missing potential inside him that he started off as a chick, then he started Muay Thai boxing, right? And that's why he learns moves like Brave Bird. Well, that's in later gens, but at first he learned mini flying moves like Peck, which as a Torchic, you're like, okay, you're gonna get wings. But he never took that path. Now, from Combuskin, he can take that path, fire flying. And also, this feeds into his Ra potential. Ra, the big god in Egypt. So here's Ra with the bird head. I think it's a falcon. And it's looked at as straight up the sun and also the strongest god, the thing that made everything. You can make Blaziken this. So you see Ra, he's more godly looking, so his instead of being all muscular, he would be much more slim. But Blaziken would be flying. Now, what we can turn into Blaziken's wings is hard to tell. Maybe he doesn't fly in the same conventional way by getting big wings. Or maybe he's got the freaking Moltres-like wings. Oh, this is insane, right? So whenever he wants, he just forms fiery wings and flies around. That's so Raw-like. Hold up, we got the 3. So we got Blaziken, fire flying, King Louis Sun King, Superior Grass Steel, Lady Oscar Leader Knight, Empoleon Water Psychic, the new Napoleon. Well, the first Napoleon. It's done, my dudes. Make sure to shank that like button. That is the ultimate guess on what the 3 starters could be. In fact, that's the canon. That's what's happening. Disprove it in the comments, my dude. We've got all our facts figured out here. This has to be what's happening. And remember, the stars would be one of the first things shown to us in trailers. Whenever that first trailer comes out, you might just see it, what the 3 starters are. Let's see if we're right, my dudes. Piplup, Torchic, Snivy. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.